Hello everyone, welcome to episode 10 of Shree Talks a Lot. My name is of course Shree and let's waste some time together. I realized that I haven't been on my podcast platform for a while now. It's been about a week or so. I'm really sorry about that. I've been having some equipment troubles. My computer hasn't been working well lately and my microphone failed. So I'm working on a different setup today and I'm doing this kind of impromptu, unscripted kind of thing. And I just want to see how it goes. And also, I haven't put this on video, but I am going to upload this on YouTube as audio because I just wanted to decrease the load upon myself a little bit. I've been doing all of this myself, all the videos, all the podcasting, all of it, like editing and everything. So I'm kind of making sure that I can do more of these audio forms so I don't have to worry about dressing up and just be in my pajamas and just shoot the shit for a while. Sometimes I just have some thoughts and not enough time to put on makeup and look pretty for everyone. So I think all of you can understand. Today I'm not going to bore everybody. I think I'm going to move on to a much shorter format. I've been making these 45-minute episodes, and I think I've been kind of putting too much on the plate for you guys since you are not familiar with me. I think I'm demanding too much from new people to sit with me for 45 minutes if they are not familiar with me. So I'm kind of trying to familiarize myself with people, make sure that people are actually interested in what I have to say. So I'm kind of shortening my format to perhaps 10 to 20 minutes, I would say. I don't know if I can always manage within 10 minutes. Sometimes I may have something more interesting to say about a very interesting topic that may have happened in the news. So that might take a little longer for me to rant or some interesting story that's happened in my life. So I would perhaps put it to about 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes to the maximum, but I'm not going to make any more 45-minute episodes is what I'm saying. So I hope you guys give me a chance within these short form podcasts. And I think it would be fun to listen to me in these nuggets because I'm not going to interview people and stuff, at least not for now, unless people are interested to be interviewed and they come up to me and they want to talk and we can talk about anything. So if you are new, if you're not familiar with me, I talk about my writing progress, I talk about some trending topic, and I talk about self-improvement, most importantly, self-learning. So I'm very much interested in self-learning, and this is not a very old thing for me. Self-learning to me has been something that I've been interested in for the past 10 months or 11 months or so. I would say now it's been a year. The genesis of self-learning, because I've always gone down the formal education route. I think all of us have gone down the formal education route. Some of us are entrepreneurs, some of us are self-taught, and some of us, didn't pay too much attention to high school and college life and have done our own thing. So everybody here is a champ for doing their own thing. But I've never been off that mindset. So I've always had faith in formal education a lot. Big mistake, but not for everyone. Formal education is a very important thing, and I'm not saying it isn't. Just for me, I made some mistakes choosing what formal education to take, but that's besides the point. My interest in self-learning and being self-taught and things started during the lockdown time. So what happened was, of course, all of us had a lot of time during lockdown. We all had nothing to do. Everything got shut down. For me, it was something extra different, extra interesting is what I'll say. I won't say it was awful, but it was almost going that way. It was almost going towards the edge of awful. By that, I mean, I live in India, and in my city, for some reason, they decided to ban chicken and poultry and meat selling during the first few weeks of lockdown. I would say 2 or 3 weeks. There was no meat, no eggs. There was probably some vegetables. You can buy rice. You can buy, pulses and stuff like that. You can buy bread. That's about it. But groceries, you can buy groceries, but you can't buy meat. And you can't buy, I think dairy was a big problem too, but dairy was still in circulation. It was just out of stock. That's what I'm saying. But meat was not out of stock. It was just outright stopped by the powers that be. That was a big problem for me because I am keto. And I'm not keto for fun. I'm keto because I'm a type 2 diabetic. So I can't really screw with my diet a lot and start consuming sugar and rice because the government demands it. That's not going to happen for me. I'm not going to sabotage my health because of government policies. So for me, it was extra hard. And I had to really rely on like my friends who have farms. I had to rely on my best friend who had his own business. And I had to rely on another person I knew who had his own, like, poultry farm to help me during this time. So it wasn't like some kind of something from the market. I literally had to tell them to just give me something to eat. I was starving and they helped me out. And I can't tell you how much I owe them because I can't consume anything related to sugar and anything related to carbs without spiking my blood sugar. So they really helped me out because they had their own homegrown things. Even vegetables were out of stock. So they helped me with vegetables as well. My mom was fine. I bought rice and stuff for her. So at that time of food hunting and at that time of just really being desperate, I kind of had to really distract myself a lot. So my brain kind of went into this kind of reboot mode. Oh, by the way, I have to warn you. Today, I kind of kept my windows open, so I'm kind of dealing with like 50,000 mosquitoes. So you might hear me slap myself, my leg or my arm once in a while to kill some of these mosquitoes and bugs. So I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, so I kind of became a little bit obsessed with like rebooting everything because my brain was about to break down from I never dealt with this kind of like shortage of food kind of stuff. Like we're not people may have like a misconception about our country. Our country is not like starving. That's not what's happening here. We have an abundance of food. It just got locked down, literally locked down for about say 21 days. So I just kind of became like, what can I focus on so I don't keep thinking about food, so I don't keep thinking about the fact that I'm literally starving, I don't have anything to eat. So I kind of went into this like meditative state and kind of looking inward. So at that time I became very lonely and silent because I just did not want to talk. Another reason, it's not just the food, but it was also the fact that before the lockdown, after I passed out of college, I finished my degree, I was kind of job hunting and I did a few things here and there. I was an assistant for a while, and I was looking into teaching jobs because my degree was in English literature. But when I was sitting during the lockdown and kind of contemplating everything during the silence, it kind of helped me think. It kind of helped me think for the first time. And I sort of realized that I was very unhappy. I was very unhappy with the path I've taken. I'm very unhappy with the degree I studied. I'm very unhappy with every decision I made because my friends were thriving. My friend who took an English degree did her master's and everything, and she's very happy with the subject. She wants to be a professor. More power to her. My other friends, some of them passed out of college and went into law. Some of them got married. Everybody seems to be doing well, except for one or two of us. One of my friends started a cafe, and another friend is really, really struggling right now. So, except for just like 2 or 3 of us, the rest of them just went about their merry ways. So I was like, why am I not being able to do that? Why am I not being able to accept that now I'm passed out of college and now I can just go into the job market and kind of teach. Teaching would be one of the things I could do with my degree. I was just not happy, and at the same time, I realized that it was not my passion. And at that moment, I realized that I'd never discovered my passion. I have great interests. I have hobbies that overpower the studies that I do. And by that, I mean my writing kind of overpowers everything to a point where whenever I used to be in class, I would think about the characters. I would think about the scenes I could write in my novel. But I never wrote my novel because I never got the time to. So I would write here and there. I did write stuff. I did write short stories. I did write other stories. But I never completely wrote one whole thing that was my idea. You know what I'm saying? Like a novel, or like a screenplay that was like my fully mine. That was like I never did that. So when I was like thinking and sitting and thinking, I was like, I just decided that I have time. I don't know how long this lockdown is going to stretch out. Maybe to infinity, maybe to a year, maybe to 3 years. I'd have no idea. But what if I can just stop thinking about things I can't control? And by that I mean the lack of food, the lockdown, the disease, the unemployment crisis in India, and the fact that I'm really not happy with the route I took in my college and with my career. What if I just stop worrying about things I can't control and look towards things I can control? So I decided to do a complete reboot and just start from scratch and just see what I naturally gravitate towards. And immediately after I did that, I naturally gravitated towards writing. So that was one thing done. Every day I would wake up and I would think about what I can write on this page, how I can turn this one idea I have into a novel. I picked one idea. I can't do 5 novels. So I had this I had like 5 or 6 ideas written down and like outlined, like, in like 50 to 100 pages each. I didn't like any of them. I liked one. I'm like, this is something I can do because, not because it's easy, but because it's something that had been dominating my mind for a long time. So I'm like, I can start with this because I feel like the characters are more fleshed out in my mind for this one than the other ones. The other ones is going to need more research and I have to build the world and all of that. So let me just do with this one. So I took one idea and I was like, what can I write on this today? And I did that and I wrote 1 page a day. I started with 1 page a day and that became like my thing because I had nothing to do. And then my friends helped me out with my food and everything and I got my energy back. And then I wrote 2 pages a day. Then I wrote 3. And oh, by the way, I have to say this. I'm really proud of myself. I never touched a carb during those 21 days of crises. I'm really proud of that because I could have really taken that risk and be like, screw it, I'm starving. I can have some rice if I want some rice, but I didn't. And my blood sugar was not affected. And I'm so happy. I checked my blood sugar all the time. It did not spike. I'm really happy about that. But thanks to my friends. But anyways, I naturally went from like 2 pages to 3 pages, and then it became 5 pages, and then it became about creating more characters. I would say creating more plot twists, creating the world, adding more stuff in, deleting more stuff, rewrites, and editing. And now I have 200 plus pages of an actual novel. I cannot believe that actually happened. I was just like, did I actually do that? I never thought I had the capacity to do it. Like 200 pages of my own idea. And of course it's going to need more rewrites. And of course I'm going to be just scrutinizing it to absolute hell. But I did that. With no like prior knowledge of writing a novel, I actually wrote a novel. And I would have to really say that reading about writing really helped me to write. I didn't go about it blind. I didn't want to just like write everything. And because I read some novels, because I read fiction, then I thought that I'd be an expert in fiction. That's not what happened. I read books on writing. I started with John Truby's The Anatomy of Story. Then I moved on to Robert McKee's story, then Sid Field's screenplay, then writing dialogue. There was a book called Writing Dialogue. I have to look at the author and, hopefully put a link in bio if I can find an Amazon link to it. I read about description and setting. Again, forgot the author. What did I read? What else did I read? I read so many blogs. I watched so many videos. I have to think of the books that I read. I read about like total of like 10 books on writing itself before I could actually make a coherent idea for like a basic plot. I read about plotting too and everything. So I'm gonna look at the books that I read, and I would make a full list and I would put it on the description box below. And on YouTube, by the way, Shree talks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe, or on any other podcast platform except for Apple. I'm struggling with uploading to Apple. I don't know how, but anyways. So I did that, and then I kind of looked at what are my strengths. My strengths were always speaking, with, I would say, public speaking. I haven't done exactly I haven't addressed a crowd of 100 people. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm very confident when I talk to other people, even though I'm very introverted. I'm not shy. I'm just introverted, but I never had a problem talking to other people. So I decided, hey, why don't I just start a YouTube channel? Let me give you an insider information on that. Starting a YouTube channel is becoming a one-man crew of a film. Okay, it's no different than that. Because, oh my God, when you actually do it firsthand, you just gotta realize that, holy hell, the amount of skills you're gonna have to learn to do this, from audio production to video production to color grading your footage to video editing to learning how to operate a camera, any camera. I made the mistake of investing in a DSLR when I should have just stuck with the phone. I started with a phone, but I should have stuck with the phone because the amount of buttons on that thing was just scary, okay? At first it was so intimidating. I had to take a course on how to operate a stupid camera, okay? And then there was just more stuff about marketing the video, SEO, what exactly are the steps to do YouTube right. Oh my God, the amount of courses I had to take, from Photoshop to DaVinci Resolve to Audition to, I can't even tell you, Premiere Pro, After Effects, digital marketing, operating a website, podcasting, promoting a podcast. I feel like I'm doing 7 people's work, and I would say I don't regret a single thing, because the amount of skills I acquired doing this thing on my own instead of hiring someone. Oh, I forgot to mention writing a script. The amount of work I had to do is just, this is the kind of work experience you won't get unless you are really passionate about something. And I got really passionate about video making because it was such an interesting field. And that kind of taught me more about hardware and what exactly to invest when I'm buying a computer. Because I started with a very cheap Samsung laptop that would not run any editing software. So I had to learn, okay, I have to put a little bit of money for an Intel i5 core. I couldn't afford an i7 core and all this jargon with graphics card and stuff. I kind of learned about software and hardware and everything. I'm still, I would say, only 10% educated on this topic. The rest of the 90%, I have to learn on the job. But now I've entered the philosophy of do then learn instead of learn then do, because my whole life it was always just learn and do, and I haven't done anything with whatever I've learned in school and college. So that was it. So my strengths with speaking and writing naturally pushed me, I naturally gravitated towards fiction and YouTube. Fiction and filmmaking. So I was like, okay, I have my strengths covered. What exactly are my weaknesses here? So while looking at the weaknesses angle, I was like, what exactly were the things I was interested in growing up, but people kept telling me that I was not good at them because they judged me, before I could even prove anything. And I kind of took their word, and I kind of believed them. What were the things? So the subject of mathematics kept coming up because I remembered as a child really enjoying mathematics. I was just really, I always enjoyed solving problems, and I always enjoyed making up problems and solving them as a child. This was 3rd, 4th grade and 5th grade. That's what I'm talking about. I remember coming home and not even having math homework and still pulling out sums and stuff that I could do, that I could solve, because it was like a game for me. It was just so much fun, and I also remember really being very interested in computer science. Now, the interest in computer science happened a bit later, around like, I would say 8th grade or 9th grade. But I really enjoyed computer science. I really enjoyed the coding programs that we had, a little bit on HTML, a little bit on CSS. I really had fun. But mathematics, I would talk about computer science in relation to mathematics. The problem occurred when my father had cancer. I was about in the 5th grade or 6th grade. I remember late in my 5th grade, my dad had the diagnosis of cancer, and the problem was, it wasn't like late stage cancer or early stage cancer. It was mid stage cancer. It was like stage 3. So in that time, if like the doctors kind of give you nothing, they just tell you that you have to do chemotherapy, there are surgeries involved, and we don't know. That's just about it. That's just what they tell you. So, of course, my parents were not going to lose hope. My mom was not going to lose hope. So it was always just clinic duty. We had to go back and forth to clinics and stuff. And my city is a very small city. We didn't have a lot of like centers for like, good treatment. So my mom would scrounge up money from like her relatives and from the bank and take loans, and we would travel all the time to bigger cities like Chennai or Delhi, New Delhi, and we would just go to experts for their opinion, and they would just, almost all of them would just say the same thing, like, we have to do chemo, we have to do surgery, and we'll see what's up, that's the kind of thing. So there was so much traveling involved and so much pain inside the house, because if you don't know, if you have not experienced it, and I hope you haven't because it's a nightmare, when a family member gets cancer, it's like the rest of the family gets sick as well. The sickness isn't physical sickness, but a very gloomy, depressive aura around you where you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel good. That's how it felt. I don't even remember my memories from that time, but I remember this feeling. I remember the doom and gloom. I remember this depression. This depression lingered on even after he passed away for like 10 years, I would say. So he passed away when I was in my 7th grade. And by that time, the damage was done to my education. By that, I mean, I was fine with English. I was fine with social sciences, history, physics too, but not that much. But I was fine with the rest of the subjects. Mathematics, on the other hand, I could never be interested in mathematics at all because I missed out on the fundamentals. I missed out on the lessons where they taught the basics of arithmetic, geometry, I would say algebra, pre-algebra at least, and some concepts of trigonometry. And because I missed out on the fundamentals, I could never keep up. And I always had I was always afraid of asking my math teachers of anything because I remember my school math teacher was kind of very I won't say a mean woman, but very aloof. She was indifferent to all of her students. She didn't pay active interest in them. She just would teach a class and just screw off. She didn't have any interest in what you had to do. So she called me up once and she told me to do a sum. She presented me a problem. And this was me months after taking a leave of absence. I came back to school and I literally had no idea what progress has been made in class. So she presented me this sum. She told me to do it on the blackboard. And I was just staring at it. And I just didn't know what was happening. And I always remember this. She berated me in front of the class. She told me, "See, kids," this is not exactly what she said, but this is what I remember her saying, that look at this, kids. This is an example of who you shouldn't be. This is an example of what you shouldn't strive to be. And she was pointing at me. Basically, I'm someone who no one should be because I don't study, right? And I got so pissed off that I kind of looked back in my own mind and all the things that I learned from addition, subtraction stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening on this board, but I'm going to try. So I tried and I made like few mistakes, but I kind of erased the mistakes. And once I was done, it took me a little longer, like maybe 3 minutes. I finished the sum. And she looked at me and she said, "Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you complete the sum? Why didn't you finish it?" And I just looked at her and I didn't say anything because I think my little mind didn't have the words. I was not like, coherent enough to like think these kinds of complex thoughts. But the adult me right now would have said to her, "Because I find no encouragement from you to even try. Because before I even try, you put me down. That's who you are. And I have no interest in performing for you. Because I gain nothing in performing for you. Because you give me nothing. All you give me are insults." So that was my experience with mathematics. And teachers like those really affected my love for mathematics. And I think I blamed the subject instead of looking at the problem more deeply. Like, it's not the subject, it's the teachers, it's the missing out on the lessons and the inability to keep up. That was what affected me. So because of that, I couldn't actually keep up with computer science as well later on, because computer science, if you go from computer science to like a college level computer science, it's a lot of mathematics involved. There's a lot of, I don't know what branches of mathematics are involved in computer science, but it is essentially a lot of mathematics involved in it. So I just couldn't understand, except for like HTML, because it's just commands, right? So I could understand some programming languages, but nothing more than that, like C++ maybe. That's about it. So I thought to myself, since these are my weaknesses, maybe I can give it a shot and see if I still have an interest in them. So this was started from like March or April, and I can safely say it became like a game again. This kind of learning thing became a whole like game once again. And I can say that by now I have a basic understanding of basic math, pre-algebra, some concepts of geometry. And with computer science, I kind of started looking into the history of the computer, the machine itself. Like, where did it originate from? Where did it come from? Where did this information technology start? So those kinds of like historical books, I've kind of been looking into those before going into like the theory and practicals of the computer science. And it's become quite an interesting read, So I've capitalized on my strengths and experimented with my weaknesses. And now I can say that my weaknesses have become kind of a fun game to play every day, What am I guess some of you may be asking, what's my aim with this? What am I trying to accomplish? And to that I can say there is no aim. There is no aim. I'm not aiming for anything. I'm not aiming for a job in computer applications or trying to become a mathematician or I don't know, becoming the best-selling author like Stephen King or whatever, or the next PewDiePie. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I would say that during lockdown, I kind of got upset because I had no time, because I had nothing to do, basically. All I had was time. And during that time, I got obsessed with the idea of like Renaissance men, the Renaissance men that existed in the past. Like, these people existed and they had multiple interests and skills from polar opposite fields. And they did it just for fun. They did it because they had time, because they had nothing else to do. Because they were like, what else am I going to do? So I kind of got interested in that idea. I find the concept very fascinating that there were those people. And I think there are still those people that exist, people who have varying interests. Someone who's a chef, but also teaches physics or something. It's like, I'm pretty sure there are those people. We just don't know about them because they don't boast about it on social media. And I don't intend to boast about it. I just intend to learn and see what's there, what else I can find fascinating about, what else I find fascinating. So just to make it clear, though, I'm not saying that you need to do this and you need to stop working at your job or stop doing whatever you're doing and start learning and start, getting curious about your weakness. That's not what I'm saying. Money is everything when it comes to your happiness and when it comes to stability, okay? Do not avoid that. I am never going to avoid money. Even while doing this, I'm kind of starting to make, my own profiles, to start freelancing on writing, to start a business, to make some passive income and start investing my money. I'm doing all of that. Even like maybe if I have to, if I really get nothing from doing any of these things, once the lockdown is over in my city, I'm probably going to get a job, in teaching and using my degree, or getting another B.Ed degree so I can teach, because in here you need to have a bachelor's in education as well to have a proper teaching job, but whatever. But anyway, so I'm never going to say no to the job culture or 9 to 5. That's not what I'm saying. In fact, I would say money making is also a skill that should be learned, and nobody's teaching it. Everybody's just telling you to become a cog in the machine. So active income is important, but it's just such a shaky situation right now where people keep getting fired over Zoom calls that I think people should also research on passive income and investing a lot more than just worrying about active income and, who's going to hire you, who's going to pay for your whatever, project. It's a very important skill to have, to at least have one passive income. So it is one of the skills that I'm learning currently. And what am I doing with this? I would say I'm not rebooting my whole life to find happiness, or I'm not rebooting myself to find myself, go on a journey to find myself. I would say I'm going on an adventure, like learning and experimenting with new things, with my strengths and my weaknesses, is now for me exploring Narnia, And I'm not saying you need to join me and come to Narnia, but I'm saying that it's a fun thing to do, to learn a subject you think you were weak at, and to do something you were always interested in, to actually execute it. Like for me, my novel, to actually see it happen. It's quite a fun experience. So I would say you can actually try it out, this whole self-learning thing. There is no harm in doing it. That's what I'm saying. There's no harm in learning a new subject, learning a new skill, or continuing to work on your project. Nobody's gonna fault you for that. So you might as well do it. And lockdown should be one of the best reasons for you to do it, because there is no guarantee of a future that's bright. Sometimes future can be very dark. But if you have the skills, but if you have done something that you were always wishing to do, but never got the time, now is the best time to start, because, well, from what we've learned from the lockdown is that sometimes all we have is what we have built, and what we can build can change according to what our future holds, so might as well make the best of the present. I would say that's about it, and I think I pretty much crossed the 20-minute mark. Like I said, if I have something interesting to say, I may not be able to keep my promise of making these a 20-minute episodes. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to make more of these. And I'm starting a blog very soon on stuff like these. So I'm going to link that too. If you're interested in this kinds of like self-improvement stuff, you can check it out on shhreenation.com. So thank you so much for listening. I'm very grateful that you gave me your time, and I hope I didn't waste your time. See you next week.